I'm going to demonstrate how I made this soft cover journal with the string and button closure. Inside I have some blank photocopy or printer paper, but you can use any paper that you like. For example, this one is a mixed paper journal, or junk journal, some people call it, with an envelope with the ability to put things inside. You can use whatever paper that you like. I have one that has paintings inside, as I showed on Instagram the other day. I'm going to use today a blank greeting card that I have, and I'm going to use a little bit of scrapbook paper to make it a little bit more decorative, some regular copy paper cut in half, sheets that are cut in half, and if you don't happen to have blank cards, you can use regular cardstock and just cut it down. Or you could use a cereal box and glue on a coloring book page or some other pretty paper that you might have. So the first thing I'm going to do is use the blank card, cut my piece of decorative paper to fit the height of the card, and I'm going to glue with a scrap piece of paper. I'm going to glue the small piece, gets glued onto the big piece. So I'm going to make sure this has lots of glue. So let's get rid of that excess. And I'm going to eyeball this, but if you are a perfectionist, you would probably want to measure that about there. If you have an old gift card, you can use this to help spread the glue underneath and make sure that everything is really smoothed down really well. So this should ideally sit underneath a heavy book for at least a couple of hours. Overnight is even better. I'm going to let that dry, but I think I'm going to go with a button like this, and I'm just going to decide where I want it, and then I'm going to sew that on. So my button is now sewn on. I'm going to take some copy paper and cut it down. I cut this printer paper in half and then put it inside to make sure that I have a little bit, a tiny bit of room around the paper, and that when I close it, nothing is sticking out the side. I have to trim that a little bit. So I've got my cardstock on the outside, my button sewn on, I've got copy paper cut down to fit inside, and everything is clipped down together. I've created 3 holes, one through the middle, and one at the top, about an inch or so away, and one at the bottom, about an inch or so away. Because I want the button and string closure, I'm going to start from the outside. If you want beads or anything to decorate, you would start on the outside because this is where the end of your string will be. So I'm starting on the outside, going through the middle, not tying a knot yet, but I'm going to leave a tail and hold onto that with my fingers. Then to the top or bottom, it doesn't matter, and come out. And then on this side, all the way down, so that your string is now going to travel from your top hole down to the bottom one, back inside. And then from the inside, you're going to go back out through the middle. So we've got one coming out on either side of this long thread, which is a good thing because when we tie the knot, it will tie that up. We want to make sure everything is nice and tight, and we're going to do a double knot. Oops. I take my clip off, and you're going to take the string around the back of the book and wind it up a few times. And then you can trim it off. This string here, you can add a bead or a charm, or you can just trim it off. I like to add something to it, but it's a little bit finicky to tie the double knot here. And then you can just trim. Better scissors would be a good idea. But there you have it. A softcover journal with a button and string closure ready to go.